Okay, good afternoon. I'm Dan Garodnick, Chair of the City Planning Commission, Director of the Department of City Planning. Welcome to today's review session of March 13. We are joined today by Vice Chair Knuckles, Commissioners Benjamin, Bozarg, Cerullo, Crowell, and Dweck, both on Zoom, Gold, Kermani, Marin, Osorio, and Rampersad. Thank you all for being here. First off, I wanted to highlight some really good news around a coming citywide text amendment that the Department of City Planning is preparing. The New York League of Conservation Voters last week listed Mayor Adams' City of Yes for Carbon Neutrality initiative as a priority for adoption this year in their 2023 New York City policy agenda. A leading voice for environmentalism and renewable energy in New York State, the League said that our initiative is key to greening the grid, reducing our carbon emissions, and lowering New Yorkers' energy costs. We're honored to have the League of Conservation Voters supporting us on important rule changes that will bring New York City's zoning resolution into the modern age. And even though it is only 1 p.m. on Monday, it's already been a busy week for the Department of City Planning. I am just back from a tour with Mayor Adams of 160 Water Street, which is undergoing an office to residential conversion right this moment. This walkthrough highlighted the importance of the Adaptive Reuse Task Force's recommendations to make it easier for more office buildings to be able to convert into housing. Mayor Adams also stressed the need for a renewed incentive to continue the creation of mixed-use rental housing, and also called for the removal of the 12 FAR cap, which stops New York City from controlling its own zoning determinations. We look forward to working with our partners in Albany on all of these issues in the coming weeks. Turning to today's agenda, we have one new item starting public review, though it is actually a follow-up action for a previously approved project at 280 Bergen Street. You will recall this project, which was approved last year, will create 300 new homes, 80 of them income restricted, in the transit-rich area of Boerum Hill, Brooklyn. And since this neighborhood does have such great access to public transit, the developer is following through on a commitment to the community to seek a waiver for all of its required parking on this site. So we will be seeing that today. Coincidentally, we have a second item right near the intersection of 3rd Avenue and Bergen Street in Brooklyn. So with a city as massive as ours, we're going to spend a disproportionate amount of time on 3rd Avenue and Bergen Street today. And we're going to have a public hearing on Wednesday about an office lease renewal for the Human Resources Administration, which is located on the other side of Bergen Street from 280 Bergen, the first item on today's agenda. We'll also have a pre-hearing review of that renewal, as well as on the Cole Street development in Staten Island for 48 two-family homes and 5 single-family homes, 6110 Queens Boulevard, which is a project to allow a gym on the 2nd floor of a building, and 26-50 Brooklyn Queens Expressway West, which is a rezoning also to enlarge an existing gym. So a lot of time on Bergen Street and a lot of time talking about New Yorkers getting healthier in Queens. So this is all great stuff. The Commission will also discuss what we heard at a recent public hearing on a proposal at 141-05 109th Avenue in Queens, which would allow a 4-story building in South Jamaica with about 55 new homes, around 15 permanently income restricted. The project includes offices for the existing Mason supply business, a public pre-K, and a yard for the students. I also want to note we have been, since I welcomed everyone, we've been joined by Commissioner Goodrich. Welcome. And with that, Ryan, let's get to work.
Okay, certainly. Today is Monday, March 13th, 2023. The time is 1:08 p.m. and a quorum is present in the hearing room in 120 Broadway. The first item on the agenda is a certification of a special permit in Brooklyn Community District 2. Our presenter is Amrita Mahesh.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is a private application for a special permit to waive off-street parking requirements to facilitate a four-building, approximately 238,000 square foot mixed-use development, including 223,000 square feet of residential use, 9,600 square feet of commercial use, and 10,000 square feet of community facility use in the Borum Hill neighborhood of Community District 2 in Brooklyn. The proposed development would include 300 apartments, of which 85 apartments would be income restricted pursuant to MIH. The proposed action is a follow-up to a prior rezoning application by the applicant, which was adopted by City Council in December of 2022, and the applicant is seeking this special permit to waive all required parking spaces per recommendations from the Community Board and the City Council made during ULURP for this previous rezoning application. The project area is in the southern edge of Borum Hill between downtown Brooklyn and Gowanus. The surrounding area is developed with a wide range of building typologies and mix of uses, including 2 to 3 story mixed-use and residential buildings, multifamily apartment buildings, institutional buildings, houses of worship, offices, and some lofts and warehouses. The development site is located along 3rd Avenue, which is a two-way mixed-use corridor and local truck route that connects downtown Brooklyn to Bay Ridge. 4th Avenue, one of the major thoroughfares in Brooklyn, is located 1 block east of the project area. Uses along 4th Avenue vary and include commercial and semi-industrial uses and multifamily walk-up buildings, as well as newer apartment buildings. To the south are NYCHA Wyckoff Gardens and 572 Warren Street developments, which consist of buildings ranging from 6 to 21 stories. The Brooklyn High School for the Arts, PS 38, and the North Pacific Street Playground are located a few blocks to the north and northwest of the project area. The project area is in the transit zone with access to several subway lines, regional transit, bus lines, and city bike. The Atlantic Avenue, Barclay Center, and Atlantic Terminal stations are located a quarter mile away, and the B37 and D103 bus lines make stops along 3rd and 4th Avenues, respectively. The recently approved land use actions on this block, which include the 280 Bergen Street rezoning adopted in December of 2022, and the 98 3rd Avenue rezoning adopted in June of 2022, are shown here in yellow and blue, respectively. The project area is mapped with medium-density residential districts, including an R7D district along the 3rd Avenue frontage and R7A and R6B districts for the remainder of the block. Other zoning districts in the surrounding area include a number of medium-density R6 and R7 residential districts, shown here in yellow, and are largely improved with row houses and multifamily residential buildings. Several blocks along 3rd Avenue are mapped with a C24 commercial overlay. Commercial overlays are mapped along streets that serve local retail and service needs and allow a range of uses such as grocery stores, restaurants, general stores, laundromats, and other similar businesses. The special downtown Brooklyn district is located 3 blocks north of the project area and seeks to encourage high-density development in Brooklyn's central business district. Areas to the south and east of the project area, including portions of 4th Avenue, are within the special Gowanus mixed-use district. This slide shows a zoomed-in plan of Block 388 facing northwest. The development site consists of lots 19, 51, and 42, shown here in yellow. The development site has a total lot area of 50,700 square feet. Lot 19 is improved with a 2-story industrial building. Lot 42 is improved with a single-story accessory office building utilized by the industrial facility. And Lot 51 is a 2,000 square foot lot that is unimproved. The lots shaded in pink along the 3rd Avenue frontage and the Nevin Street frontage are city-owned properties under the control of HPD. They are currently used as accessory surface parking and accessory office space by the neighboring industrial business, which is owned by the applicant, located on Lot 19, per a long-term lease agreement with HPD. The lease restricts uses on these lots to use as accessory to the industrial facility. And as part of discussions during ULURP for the prior rezoning application, the applicant had been discussing the release of the leased parcels with relevant city agencies in order to facilitate a future HPD proposal on the city-owned lots. The project area was previously located in the Bergen Street urban renewal area, which was approved by the City Planning Commission in July of 1971 and expired in 2011. Here is a view of Bergen Street looking west, and the development site, Lot 19, is seen on the left of the image. This is a view of the project area from the corner of Nevin Street and Bergen Street looking south. This is a view of the corner of Nevin Street and Wyckoff Street looking east. The city-owned lot used as surface parking is seen on the left. And here is a view of Wyckoff Street looking west, and a portion of the development site, Lot 51, is seen on the right-hand side. This is a view of the corner of 3rd Avenue and Bergen Street looking south. The NYCHA Wyckoff Gardens campus is seen in the background. The proposed development is a 4-building mixed-use development containing commercial, community facility, and residential uses. The proposed development would have a total floor area of approximately 238,000 square feet, comprised of approximately 228,000 square feet of residential space, 9,600 square feet of commercial space, and 10,000 square feet of community facility space. The proposed development would contain approximately 300 dwelling units. Pursuant to MIH Option 1, the proposed development would contain 25%, or approximately 57,000 square feet of affordable housing floor area, and pursuant to a community benefits agreement, the applicant has agreed to provide an additional 5 affordable units, which would yield a total of approximately 80 affordable units. The proposed development would include Building 1, a 9-story, 95-foot tall mixed-use building, which would be located on the north side of Lot 19, fronting on Bergen Street. It would contain ground floor retail space closest to 3rd Avenue and the ground floor community space as well. Building 2, a 9-story, 95-foot tall residential building, would be located on the south side of Lot 19 on the Wyckoff Street frontage. 2 3-story, approximately 37-foot tall residential townhouse-style buildings would also front on Wyckoff Street on either side of the existing townhouse buildings located on the project block. Parking is required for 50% of the market rate units in R7A and R7D districts. The applicant is seeking to waive this requirement per the proposed special permit. The previously proposed ground floor parking garage would be replaced with outdoor space at the ground level for resident use. The proposed commercial and community facility uses in the development do not meet the floor area threshold for required loading berths. However, the proposed development would include 2 permitted loading berths for use by the retail tenant, for tenant move-ins and move-outs, and for storage of waste and trash or recycling pickups. The applicant is seeking a special permit pursuant to ZR Section 74-533, reduction in parking spaces to facilitate affordable housing. No parking spaces are required for income-restricted units in the transit zone. The R7A and R7D districts require parking spaces to be provided for at least 50% of the market rate units, which would generate approximately 110 spaces as the requirement. However, within the transit zone, the Commission may permit a reduction in the parking requirements in accordance with the provisions of the special permit. The applicant is seeking to waive all required parking spaces. The applicant notes that the proposed development is in proximity to a multitude of mass transit options, including 9 subway lines, bus service, alternative modes such as car share and city bike access, as well as regional transit with the Long Island Railroad, which all serve to minimize the need for private auto ownership and off-street accessory parking. The traffic analysis set forth in the 280 Bergen rezoning's EAF, the conclusions of which were confirmed by a technical memorandum in connection with the special permit application, found no potential significant adverse traffic impacts resulting from the proposed development. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pretty straightforward to me, but let me see if there are questions from Commissioner Cerullo, Commissioner Benjamin.
Thank you. So just a couple of questions, and I realize this is being certified today, so we'll have a sense of the community's point of view on this at another time in the future, which I'll be interested in. But, you know, one of the things that comes to mind where we typically end up having a conversation about, or many of us have a conversation about whether or not parking is necessary or is there a better use of space. And this is an application where they're seeking to waive parking requirements. So that's a sort of a little different spin on some of the opportunities we have to discuss this issue. One of the arguments that very often is raised about the desire to have less parking is that there's more space available, more room available for building units of housing, whether they're market rate or affordable, depending on the formula. Do we have any idea of what the benefit of this application is on the creation of additional housing that would otherwise perhaps not be built if parking had been provided?
I can share an initial response from the applicant. They have noted that construction of parking can be expensive and that this relief would enable them to provide additional affordable units. For example, through the community benefit agreement, they've committed to 5 more affordable units. So even though it was a question of, originally they had proposed MIH option 1, and now they're doing option 2, the other way around, option 2 and 1, they are able to provide deeper affordability, and they are kind of noting that the waiver of parking can kind of assist with providing more affordability here. Okay,
I understand. And so either correct me if I'm wrong or forgive my interpretation of that. Is it that there's a greater number of units being constructed as a result of this application, or is it that the cost of construction is less to the point that more affordable units can be created out of the total number of units, or with deeper affordability in the units that are being provided?
That's right. The number of affordable units did not increase. It's more so the affordability levels that have been made deeper, and the applicant can speak to how it kind of helps with their financials, but that's the initial response from the team.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cirillo. Commissioner Benjamin.
You said that there was an initial parking survey, traffic issues. Were there any? What is the car ownership levels in this immediate area?
Sure. I can look into that question and follow up with you. I don't have the answer right now.
Okay, because the way the analysis has been done is that if the demand for parking is there because people in this community, despite it being transit-rich, own cars, is there enough parking that the community will not be adversely affected by 300 new units being created with possibly 400-odd people of driving age and no parking spaces for them?
Right. So the technical memorandum did look into that aspect, and we have that information, which I can follow up and share. And we can also relay this question to the applicant so they can better explain how they are rationalizing.
Okay, if you could shoot me a copy of the technical memo, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then last, but when you said that the CBA, the applicant agreed to create these 5 additional units, those units are required now whether the parking is waived or not. Is that correct?
I believe so. They've committed to providing the 5 additional units.
And the affordability, is the affordability required by option 1?
That's right.
And has the developer committed to some deeper affordability?
I don't believe so. I believe what they're proposing is entirely consistent with option 1, but we can have them speak to that in greater detail if helpful.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Osorio, followed by Vice Chair Knuckles, followed by Commissioner Gold.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you, Commissioner Zerula. I had the same question and just wanted to add specifically whether you can find out, how can we summarize or how can we understand the public benefits of waiving the requirement? I know that in addition to recommending applying for the waiver, we specifically recommended specific ground floor uses aligned with Gowana's plan and so forth. So it'd be interesting to see what type of job creation, if not affordable housing units, may come. Thank you.
Absolutely. We can request that information from the applicant and follow up with you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chair Knuckles?
Thank you. I think my question is somewhat related to Commissioner Benjamin's query. I mean, if you back out the MIH units, you're still going to have more than 200 units of market rate housing. And presumably, some of those units will contain car owners. So I'm just wondering, where are the parking facilities in close proximity to this development site, and what are their capacities? And, what could absorb what will certainly be, at this point, an untold number of parking demand?
Absolutely. We can have the applicant follow up with the location of public parking garages and the capacity in the near vicinity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Commissioner Gold?
Thanks. And I just wanted to follow up a little bit on Commissioner Cerullo's question, perhaps more for the applicant for sure. But I guess I think what I'm sensing, and I have the same sort of question, is when I look at it, there are berths for deliveries, which is helpful, and perhaps for move-ins and move-outs. But I guess what's less clear is essentially they have to provide affordable housing no matter what. If all the parking's waived, it's just not clear to me how many additional units of both housing and affordable housing we get, because it sounds like they've committed to a certain number and we're sort of there. So I may be restating, I guess, the obvious, but if there were a way to, sort of show what, by providing this additional building area, what that sort of brings to the table and how that helps, that I think that would help all of us understand a little better.
Absolutely. As proposed currently, the total amount of floor area or dwelling units is not changing. It's more so the replacement of the parking garage with at-grade outdoor space use, but we can certainly follow up with more details.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Benjamin?
Hi. This is a question, I think, for the council's office, but given that this proposal is a waiver, can we partially waive? What is our authority here? Do we have to grant the total waiver that's been requested, or if we wanted to waive 50% or 70%, can we do that?
I believe that it would be within scope to reduce the amount of the waiver so that you could, change the requirement, right? So there's a certain number that's required now, and anything between that and what they're asking for would be in scope. We can confirm that, but that's
okay. That would be great
if
you could.
So that's the difference between 0 and 110 in this situation.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Other questions? Okay. This item is certified. Thank you very much, Amrita.
Thank you.
Okay. The second item on our agenda is a pre-hearing review of a letter of intent to acquire office space in Brooklyn Community District 2, and our presenter is Juki Sai.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is an application for a 195 Notice of Intent to Acquire Office Space action, jointly sought by HRA and DCAS to facilitate the renewal of a lease for approximately 97,000 square feet of office space currently being used by HRA at 88 3rd Avenue in Boerum Hill, Community District 2, Brooklyn, and as noted, it's 1 block north of the project that Amrita just presented on. The lease at this facility will expire in August of 2024. An extension for 88 3rd Avenue is needed to secure tenancy for HRA until new office space at 2440 Fulton Street near Broadway Junction in East New York is ready for occupancy in the second quarter of 2025. This relocation is part of the city agency's Revitalizing the Economy strategy, known as CARES, to create jobs hubs across the city by strategically locating city agency offices in key neighborhoods. 2440 Fulton Street, and you can see the rendering for it on the left-hand side here, is currently under construction and received acquisition approval from the City Planning Commission in February of 2021. In addition to receiving most of the programs from 88 3rd Avenue, 2440 Fulton Street will receive HRA programs from 250 Livingston Street in downtown Brooklyn and 404 Pine Street in East New York. And you can see that consolidation visualized here on the right-hand side. The majority of the HRA programs to be relocated from these three facilities are focused in the East New York region. Thus, proximity to the neighborhood is intended to bring services closer to where they are needed. One program currently located at 88 3rd Avenue, the Information Technology Services Virtual Client Service Center, will consolidate with ITS units at another new facility for which HRA and DCAS are currently seeking office space. Once all the programs are relocated, 88 3rd Avenue will be relinquished. The surrounding area is located within the southern edge of the Borum Hill neighborhood between downtown Brooklyn and Gowanus. The surrounding area is developed with a wide range of building typologies and a mix of uses, including 2 to 3 story mixed use and residential buildings, multifamily apartment buildings, including multiple NYCHA campuses to the south, institutional buildings like PS 38 and Brooklyn High School for the Arts, houses of worship, offices, and some loft and warehouse uses. 2 rezonings took place on the block to the south of the project site in 2022. Those are shown here in blue and green shading. The project site has excellent access to public transportation, including the 2, 3, 4, 5, B, D, N, Q, and R subway lines at the Barclay Center subway station, located a quarter mile to the north, and the B37 and B103 bus lines along 3rd and 4th Avenues, respectively. The zoning lot where the project site is located is zoned R7A with a C24 overlay to a depth of 100 feet from 3rd Avenue. Beyond the depth of 100 feet, the lot is zoned R6A. The areas to the north and west of the project site are zoned R6B, and the area to the east of the project site is zoned R6B and R7B. As I referenced in the previous slide, in June 2022, a portion of the block directly to the south of the project site was zoned from an M12 district to an R6B and R7D with a C24 overlay, and that's the 98 3rd Avenue rezoning. Another portion of the block directly to the south of the project site was rezoned in December 2022 from an N12 district to an R7A and R7D districts with a C24 overlay, and that is the 280 Bergen Street rezoning. The area further south of the project was rezoned in 2021 as part of the Gowanus neighborhood plan. The project site consists of approximately 97,000 square feet of office space used by roughly 375 HRA employees. It serves roughly 325 clients daily from across Brooklyn. The office houses a wide range of programs, including client-facing services, such as the administration of SNAP and Medicaid benefits, as well as back office uses, such as information technology services. This photo looks at the 3rd Avenue frontage of the building, which includes the entrance for staff. This photo looks at the Bergen Street frontage, which includes the entrance for clients. And this photo looks at the Dean Street frontage. These photos show the inside of the building, in this case, the client-facing office space. HRA and DCAS are applying for a 195 Notice of Intent to Acquire Office Space action to facilitate the continued use by HRA of approximately 97,000 square feet of office space on floors 1 through 4, and that's all the floors, at 88 3rd Avenue. Renewing the lease at 88 3rd Avenue would ensure that HRA has a centrally located ADA-accessible office to conduct business from until the facility at 2440 Fulton Street is available for tenancy. Thank you. I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much. Before I go to the Vice Chairman, let me just ask a couple of points of clarification here. So this is a 195 notice of intent to acquire the office space, which is a renewal of 10 years, but includes an option to leave after 2. Is that right?
Yes. So the applicant will be able to speak more in depth to it on Wednesday. But as I understand, the lease terms are for 10 years with an option to get out around 2, which will give HRA time to basically, for the 2440 Fulton Street renovation to happen, to be completed, and for HRA to move the various services housed at 88 3rd, both to 2440 Fulton and then to another location for the ITS services that I mentioned.
And forgive me if you mentioned it, but 2440 Fulton at Broadway Junction is expected to be ready when?
Go back. I believe it is the second quarter of 2025.
Okay. And when recognizing that these factors are very likely not present here, at least not as an issue, but when we are considering an office lease renewal or a notice of intent to acquire office space, our technical action here, we're considering the appropriateness of the office space for the environment that is presently there and also the surrounding circumstances. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is there anything that would be a factor here on the renewal of this lease that would rise to a level of our consideration as far as you're concerned that would be relevant for a renewal of a lease here?
No. And I think, one thing to note here, just going back over a little bit of what I was saying in the consolidation is in a citywide statement of needs, there's been discussion of this movement. And I think that if anything, the idea of locating services closer to where they're being used is very important, but understanding that is going to happen with the 2440 Fulton occupancy. So that is sort of like the only comment I would have on that, but it's going to happen. And this is, I think, very sound in terms of having a good space for HRA to operate from until that move happens.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vice Chairman?
Well, thank you, Chair. Actually, that was my question about the length of this renewal and how long they would be there. Julius, do you know whether or not there are any other city agencies other than HRA in this building?
HRA occupies the entire building.
The entire building, okay. Yeah. All right, thank you. That was mine.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing no other questions, Juki, thank you very much. We will pick this up at a public hearing on Wednesday.
Yes.
So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
All right.
The third item on our agenda is a pre-hearing review of a city map amendment and post-referral review follow-up for authorizations and commission certification in Staten Island Community District 3, and our presenter is Amy Obonaga.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is a private application seeking a change in the city map and several non-ULURP actions pursuant to the Special South Richmond Development District, authorizations to facilitate tree removal and modifications of topography, CPC certification for zoning lot subdivision, chair certification for school seats. The actions would facilitate new mapped public streets and a residential development consisting of 48 two-family homes, 5 single-family homes, for a total of 101 units and 217,334 square feet of total floor area at the terminus of Cole Street in Richmond Valley neighborhood, Community District 3, Staten Island. As we briefed the Commission previously, the non-ULURP actions are required because the area is mapped within the Special South Richmond Development District, which was which is mapped within which was established in 1975 and is one of the 3 special zoning districts that encompass a significant portion of Staten Island. The others are the Special Hillsides Preservation District and the Special Natural Area District. The department is currently working with local stakeholders to update and simplify these rules for local property owners while also strengthening the rules to ensure that the large project sites, such as the one subject to this application, achieve the district goals effectively. The project area is an approximately 15-acre site consisting of 1 zoning lot and 17 tax lots. The project area is undeveloped and largely characterized by vacant forested areas, which are adjacent to the Mill Creek Blue Belt, located to the east and south of the project site. The surrounding area is developed predominantly with single and two-family detached and semi-detached homes. This is consistent with the mapped R3X zoning district, which permit low-density residential homes. There are nearby commercial areas along Page Avenue, Veterans Road West, to the west and north, respectively, containing big box and strip mall style retail stores mapped in M1-1 zoning district. Transportation access to the site includes nearby vehicular entrances to the West Shore Expressway and the Korean War Veterans Parkway, the Staten Island Railway's Richmond Valley Station, which is located approximately 300 feet south of the project site, and an express bus stop is located just south of the site on Amboy Road. The site contains a range of natural features, heavily wooded areas containing over 1,300 trees. There are also areas of significant topographical changes, resulting in a grade change of 40 feet between the lot lines. Freshwater wetland and adjacent areas are located on the site along the eastern and southwest lot lines near the Mill Creek Blue Belt. If these land use actions are approved, the applicant intends to subdivide the existing zoning lot into 52 zoning lots and develop 53 new homes, 48 two-family and 5 single-family homes, for a total of 101 residential units and 217,334 square feet of new residential floor area with in-ground pools in the rear yard of most of the homes. To provide access and sewer connections to these homes, the proposal includes the construction of 3 public streets: Bluebelt Drive, Cool Court, Lookout Court, and an extension of Cole Street. After the streets are constructed, the applicant proposes to transfer them to the City of New York. Additionally, there will be a 20-foot wide NYC Fire Department access easement that provides emergency access between Bluebelt Drive and Cool Court. The development project incorporates 3 preservation and public spaces located along the eastern lot line and in the southeast and southwest corners of the site, which are intended to preserve existing natural features, including wetlands, trees, and topography, and provide public amenities in accordance with the Special South Richmond Development Goals. In total, the areas are 84,228 square feet, or about 13% of the lot, and will be maintained by a homeowners association. In the Special South Richmond Development District, authorizations are required to modify certain natural features, including trees and topography outside of the building footprints, driveways, and required parking. The development would result in the removal of 971 existing on-site trees, of which 296 would require an authorization that is subject to this application. 273 trees will be planted to meet the minimum tree planting requirement of each proposed zoning lot. Zoomed in the image on this lot on the site plan shows an example of tree removal subject to the South Richmond authorization and an as-of-right tree removal permitted by zoning. Topographic modifications include 30,184 cubic yards of removal of topography, 28,997 cubic yards of fill over existing topography, varying in height between 2 and 10 feet in certain areas. The applicant incorporated design elements to minimize topographical modifications and blend the proposed development into the surrounding natural topography. Staten Island Community Board 3 voted on January 11th, 2023, recommending approval of the application by a vote of 28 in favor, none opposed, and no abstentions, with the stipulation that the DEP and DOT commit to the maintenance of all infrastructure for the roads contained in this application. We have not yet received the Borough President's recommendation. To summarize, the requested actions include a change to the city map, South Richmond authorizations to modify trees and topography, a certification for a zoning lot subdivision, and a chair certification for school seats. This would facilitate new mapped public streets, subdivision of the existing zoning lot into 52 zoning lots, construction of 53 new homes, 48 two-family and 5 single-family homes, for a total of 101 residential units and 217,334 square feet of new residential floor area. This concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Great. Thank you very much. So let's talk about the streets just for a moment. So one of the actions here is the mapping of 3 streets, but they are still, even after a mapping action, they are still going to be, at least for the moment, privately owned map streets. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the concept here is to ultimately transfer those streets to New York City. They're going to build them out and then transfer them over to the city. Is that right?
Correct. Correct.
How do we know that they're going to be built out to city standards, and how can we make sure of that?
Well, currently, the applicant has been in coordination with DEP and DEC to see to it that they are meeting the requirements of the city, DOT, and all the other agencies prior to.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Benjamin, Commissioner Bozorg.
Yeah, I would say, it's generally in the mapping agreement, and I'm sure it'll be contained there, what the city's requirements are and were, and how the developer is going to meet them. Although the transfer itself, if that happens, is not in the mapping agreement, do we have any additional information on how and when that would occur?
The applicant will be here on Wednesday, but I can say that currently speaking, working with the different agencies, we do have some of that already detailed.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to share with you when things.
All right, and then more specifically, we have been discussing this with our technical review division, and from our understanding, the property is actually appraised by the city after the construction of the roadway. So it's not until the roads are built that the appraisal can happen, and then at that point, any transfer of property from a private actor to the city would then happen at that time.
But it would be a transfer, not a sale? I mean, the transfer, I'm not sure that the dollar amount matters.
Right, it would be a
sale.
Yeah,
correct.
Sale.
It's a sale.
Mm-hmm.
And will we see that application then?
No.
For the city to acquire?
The mapping action contains within it the authority to acquire property.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bozorg?
I was just curious whether we've heard yet from DOT whether they expect, to take over maintenance. I know that there have been challenges in the past with DOT not wanting to take over maintenance of roads that they haven't constructed themselves. So do we know yet, or when within the process will we be getting clarification from DOT?
During the ULUP process, we don't imagine there'll be a resolution just as yet, but we do understand that they have been in coordination with the DOT, DEC, and DEP, so that will be forthcoming prior to transfer, sale, yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Osorio?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I had 2 questions associated with the WRP. So one is, I was wondering if you can expand a little bit on how you explained your analysis regarding the impact of the removal of the trees in relation to the nearby recognized ecological resources. One, the wetlands, and then the other is, the Page Avenue wetlands and the Canada Hill woods. I was wondering if you can explain a little bit, where exactly are these in relation to the project site? That's one. And then 2, in the WRP, the applicant is stating under policy 4.4 and 4.5 that they're actively restoring some of these wetlands. So I was wondering if you can help us understand a little bit what is the relation of the project site with these resources, and to what extent is the applicant actually considering any type of intervention there?
So there is, as required, since it's adjacent to the Blue Belt, it is required to have that 100-foot, since it's adjacent to 100-foot area. So there is that adjacent. So there you'll see pictured the FDNY access road, but then also within that is the 100-foot area. So they're going to reserve that space, which they're required to by law. In regards to their urban design plans, they're looking to preserve a certain portion of area, but which I think I mentioned already, that'll be maintained by the homeowners association, and that will be several boardwalks. That's detailed, and the applicant can share that with you, but that's detailed in their application. But on Wednesday, they can show you specifically.
That'll be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Thank you very much, Amy. And we will bring this back on Wednesday for public hearing on March 15th, and we appreciate your presentation today.
Thank you.
Ryan, what's up next?
The fourth item on our agenda is a pre-hearing review of a zoning map amendment in Queens Community District 2. Our presenter is Shrishti Bajrachara Shakya.
Good afternoon, Chair Grodnick.
Oh, she's on Zoom.
Good afternoon.
As a reminder, this application was certified on December 12th of 2022. This is a private application by PF Supreme LLC, doing business as Planet Fitness, for a zoning map amendment from C12 to C24 commercial overlay over the existing R71 and R6 zoning districts. This action would allow the Planet Fitness gym to occupy approximately 16,000 square feet on a portion of the second floor of the existing building. No changes to the bulk of the existing building or project area are proposed. The project area is located at 6110 Queens Boulevard in Woodside neighborhood of Queens Community District 2. Next slide, please. The project area, shaded in blue with yellow dotted line on the map, is located along the south side of Queens Boulevard, a major thoroughfare between 61st Street to the east and 59th Street to the west, and approximately 3 blocks west of the intersection with 3 major transportation corridors: Queens Boulevard, Brooklyn Queens Expressway, and the Long Island Railroad Traverse. Immediately adjacent to the development site on the same block are 5 of the 7 Big 6 18-story residential towers built in a tower in a park configuration with planted open spaces and necessary parking areas. The closest subway line to the project area is 7 Train, Express and Local, which is accessible via the 69th Street Woodside Station, located approximately a quarter of a mile to the north of the project area, and a station at 52nd Street, located approximately half a mile northwest of the project area. The LIRR is also accessible via the Woodside Station, located adjacent to the 7 Train station on 61st Street. There are also several bus lines that serve the area. Next slide, please. The development site here is outlined in red. In the surrounding area, the commercial use is colored in pink on the map, and tall residential buildings ranging from 6 to 18-story, colored in dark yellow on the map, are predominantly located on Queens Boulevard, with the broader neighborhood being characterized by a mix of row houses, 2-family detached and semi-detached homes, multifamily walk-up buildings, and apartment buildings shaded in light yellow on the map. The project area was originally mapped with an R6 district in 1961. In 1964, the eastern portion of the project area where the development site is located was mapped with a C12 commercial overlay to facilitate the shopping center, which envisioned to primarily serve the residents of the Big 6 co-op development. In 1989, part of the project area fronting on Queens Boulevard was mapped with an R71 district. At this time, a C12 commercial overlay was also mapped at a depth of 150 feet from Queens Boulevard on the same block as R71. The project area is currently located in a R71 district with C12 commercial overlay and R6 district with C12 commercial overlay. Next slide, please. Just to give a quick overview of the existing conditions of the project area, we are facing south, showing the development site and Big 6 residential complex. In the map here, the project area depicted by the dotted yellow line encompasses lot 100 of block 2314, consisting of the development site shaded in pink on the map, and a portion of lot 1 depicted by orange solid line of the same block that contains 5 of the 7 Big 6 residential towers. Lot 100 is currently improved with a 2-story 65,000 square feet commercial building, which is a part of Big 6 complex and has a shopping center that includes a supermarket and various local convenience retail establishments. The development site is located on the 2nd floor and has historically been used for non-conforming gym use. Lot 1 contains 5 of the Big 6 towers, 2 of which lies within the project area, along with planted open space and necessary parking areas, accessed by 3 curb cuts from Queens Boulevard. Next slide, please. The image on the screen is showing the development site facing south from Queens Boulevard. The development is occupying the second floor space at the northwest corner of the building, seen on the right side of the screen here. We can see two of the big 6 towers just behind the development site. Next slide, please. This image is showing the view of the development site facing southwest from the intersection of Queens Boulevard and 61st Street. Next slide, please. The applicant proposes a Planet Fitness gym to encompass 16,000 square feet of the second floor of the existing 2-story building, which is at the right portion of the building in the image shown in the screen. No changes to the bulk of the existing building are proposed. Next slide, please. This is the floor plan of the development site located on the second floor of the existing building. The gym facility encompasses the west side of the building and can be accessed through 3 pedestrian entrances depicted by pink stars on the map. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing a zoning map amendment from a C12 to C24 commercial overlay over the existing R71 and R6 districts. In existing C12 commercial overlay, health and fitness establishments are limited to occupy only 10,000 square feet of floor area. The change to a C24 commercial overlay would allow for health and fitness establishments without any limitation to floor area to locate in the project area. Additionally, a wider range of commercial uses, including home maintenance, repair services, funeral establishments, theaters, etc., would be allowed. The 2021 Health and Fitness Citywide Text Amendment allows health and fitness establishments without any limitation as to floor area as of right in C2 districts within US Group 9, which eliminates the need for a special permit from the Board of Standards and Appeals, which was previously required. This action would facilitate the conformance of the existing non-conforming gym use at the development site. Next slide, please. Queens Community District 2 held a public hearing on the application on February 2nd of 2023, and on February 3rd of 2023, seconded to approve the ULURP application by a vote of 30 in favor, none opposed, and none abstaining. Next slide, please. The Queens Board of President held a public hearing on the application on February 16th of 2023, and February 27th of 2023 issued a recommendation to approve the application with the condition that they should include MWBE firms and local residents and their hiring goals, and to provide quarterly reports of the hiring initiatives to the BP Council member until the hiring goal has been reached. As a reminder, no change to the bulk of the existing building or project area proposed. And this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Christy. Just a couple of points of clarification, which I think you said already, but I just want to make sure. So right now, in the C12, the limitation under use groups 5 and 6 is that health and fitness can only be up to 10,000 square feet. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And a C24 would enable a health and fitness operation without a limitation on size. Also, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. And this Planet Fitness is currently there, but they will be potentially expanding to the second floor of the building?
No, currently the portion of the floor area where they are proposing Planet Fitness is vacant. It has been vacant for a few years, but it has been historically been used as a gym used since 1990s.
I see. So the space that Planet Fitness had occupied is being used presently, you said, by another gym use. Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
No. So they are proposing to occupy the space for Planet Fitness gym, but currently it is the space is kind of vacant.
I see. Okay. Sorry, I thought I saw in one of the images, I thought I saw Planet Fitness actually on there. That may have been just a rendering of the future as opposed to a presentation of the current. Okay, I misunderstood. Okay. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Let me see if there are other questions here. Okay. Thank you very much, Christy. We appreciate it. This one will go up for a public hearing on Wednesday also, and we are going to continue to hear about how the residents of Woodside, Queens are going to continue to get healthier and healthier with our next application. Ryan?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The fifth item on our agenda is a pre-hearing review of a zoning map amendment in Queens Community District 1, and our presenter is Sarah Avila.
Okay. Commissioner Ramprashad is recused on this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Gorodnick and Commissioners. This is a private application by 2650 BQE LOR LLC for a zoning map amendment to facilitate an enlargement to an existing building for a 56,656 square foot, 3-story physical cultural establishment at 2650 Brooklyn Queens Expressway West, Queens Community District 1. The proposed action is a zoning map amendment to change a M11 zoning district to an M12 zoning district. The project was certified at the review session of December 12, 2022, and is back for a pre-hearing review. As a reminder, this project is on the border of the Astoria and Woodside neighborhoods in western Queens. It is on the eastern end of Astoria and the northern end of Woodside. The project area is comprised of Block 1019 lots 1 and 2. The project area is generally bounded by Beluga Avenue to the north, Borough Place to the west, 27th Avenue to the south, and the Brooklyn Queens Expressway to the east. The project rezoning area is 50,981 square feet. The rezoning area and surrounding area are in an existing M11 zoning district that generally runs north and south along the Brooklyn Queens Expressway. Also within the 600-foot radius are 2 separate residential zoning districts. To the east of the project area is an R4 zoning district that allows for detached, semi-detached, and attached single and 2-family buildings. To the west is a widely mapped R5 zoning district with an assortment of housing types and allows for single or 2-family homes along with multifamily buildings. This photo shows Block 1019, Lot 2 of the project area, which is a proposed development site. This is a view of the site facing northeast from Borough Place. Lot 2, 2650 Borough Place, is improved with a 1-story building with mezzanine. It is a 35-foot tall mixed commercial light industrial building that was constructed in 1964. It is approximately 38,000 square feet. Currently, there are 48 unenclosed parking spaces on the site. This photo shows the development site and its relationship to the BQE West. We are now looking at the development site, Lot 2, in the access corridor street, which is adjacent to the BQE West. This photo is looking southwest and has a project area on the right side of the photo, and we can see the existing gym on the proposed development site. Since the certification at the December 12, 2022 review session, the applicants have changed their proposed development. They are now proposing an expansion and enlargement of the existing physical cultural establishment on development site Lot 2. I'll also note on this slide, the updated site plan displayed here is rotated to the right to give a better view. So now we have Borough Place at the top of the slide, and the BQE West is on the bottom of the slide. The development will contain approximately 56,656 square feet of floor area for the physical cultural establishment. The proposed building would have an FAR of 1.31. The max under the proposed M12 zoning district is 2.0 FAR. A total of 111 off-street parking spaces would be provided at the cellar level. It would be accessed from a new 30-foot curb cut along the BQE West access corridor road to the east of the project area, which is on the bottom of the slide. 2 additional new curb cuts, each 15 feet, would be located on Borough Place on the west side of the proposed project area, which is displayed at the top of the slide. This is an updated schematic the applicants have provided. They are proposing the parking to be located on the first floor and the cellar levels shaded in gray. Shaded in yellow is the proposed expansion and enlargement of the gym, which would include 2 new proposed 7,000 square foot basketball courts. The proposed action is a zoning map amendment to change a M11 zoning district to an M12 zoning district on Block 1019 lots 1 and 2. M11 zoning districts allow for a max of 1.0 FAR. The max FAR under M12 zoning districts is 2.0 FAR. The use groups, parking regulations, and signage requirements are the same for both zoning districts. There is no difference in those. On January 17, 2023, Queens Community Board 1 held a public meeting, and the board voted 31 in favor, 2 opposed, and with 1 abstention to approve the application. A copy of the full recommendation was included in your briefing materials. The Queens Borough President held a public hearing on February 2nd, 2023, and issued a recommendation to conditionally approve the application with the following conditions: to have a goal of 30% for local hiring, use of MWBE businesses, and to hire local residences. Also to work with locally based organizations and community groups for outreach when hiring and contracting this project, as well as provide quarterly updates to the Borough President and the City Council member. Regarding sustainability and resiliency goals, the Borough President recommends the applicants to add passive natural landscaping along the proposed development site for better drainage, also to add solar panels to the proposed development's rooftop, and to follow through with their proposal to install electric vehicle chargers and to demonstrate site plans for safe bike and car traffic patterns going in and out of the parking lot. Lastly, the applicants should contact additional local CB1 nonprofits and community-based organizations to collaborate on programming. That concludes my presentation, and the applicant team will be here on Wednesday for a team presentation, but I will gladly take your questions.
Great, thank you very much. Let me see if there are questions from the commission today before we pick this up on Wednesday. Okay, well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. This one we will see again Wednesday morning for public hearing. So thanks again, Sarah. All right, Ryan.
So for future votes on Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, staff have prepared reports on 2560 Boston Road rezoning. The community board submitted a recommendation of disapproval, which we'll share with the commission. This is sort of late breaking news. I don't know if there are any questions Tun is on, if there's any questions. All right. All right. We have also prepared reports on the paperific rezoning, which staff is recommending approval for. Also, staff is recommending approval on 2560 Boston Road. On 155 18th Street authorization, we are laying this over. We're going to give the community board a little bit more time to give us their recommendation. They did have a discussion on it. On 24506 South Conduit Avenue Commercial Overlay, staff is recommending approval of that, as well as 2310 Queens Plaza South. And finally, 2546 Far Rockaway Boulevard rezoning, staff is recommending approval on that. For post-hearing follow-ups, we have 14105 109th Avenue rezoning. I believe Andy is in the Zoom with the staff recommendation.
Good afternoon, commissioners. The Department of City.
Good afternoon.
The Department of City Planning. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to note that Commissioner Ramprasad is recused on this item. Yeah.
Thank you. The Department of City Planning staff supports the applicant's proposal to amend the zoning map to facilitate the development of a 4-story mixed-use building on a lot currently approved by a materials storage yard, a use that has been non-conforming since the adoption of the zoning resolution in 1961. The establishment of the R6B district with a C23 commercial overlay is appropriate due to the project area's proximity to several major thoroughfares, as well as downtown Jamaica, one of Queens' regional centers. In addition, the development will provide income-restricted residential units pursuant to the mandatory inclusionary housing program, bring new community facility and locally serving retail uses, and retain the existing office employment on site. That concludes my statement. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Andy. Questions, comments? Commissioner Osorio?
Thank you, Chair. I had a question, not on this item, but on some of the reports. Is this a good time to discuss?
Let me just make sure nobody has anything here. I don't think anybody does. So go right ahead.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for the reports. I just had two quick questions. One, on Boston Road, I found the report really thorough, really representative of the discussion, but I was wondering if there's an opportunity to make a recommendation about reducing the parking spots for the supermarket. Something that I wanted to suggest. And then on the other thing was, thank you so much for allowing additional time for the community board to weigh in on the authorization. I had an additional suggestion or question. I meant to mention this the last time around, but I noticed that this is labeled as Park Slope, and in my mind, that's another community district, and I was wondering if we could maybe amend that a little bit and refer to this as Sunset Park / Winter Terrace or so.
Yes, I'll speak to the Brooklyn office about that. It also may be that the applicant is aspirationally trying to say that they're in Park Slope, but we can get the right neighborhood.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
that, yeah.
Thank you. I know this is a really small authorization,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm very interested in understanding what's the outcome of the analysis in terms of the relation to the 197A.
Yeah, we're looking
and
at
the
that. We're looking
Green
at that, and
Resilient
we'll have a
Industrial District.
follow-up
Thank
on
you so
that.
much for that.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, thank you. Ryan, anything else today?
Further items on this agenda today?
Nothing else. Okay, so with that, thank everybody for your time and attention today. We will see you Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock for our public hearings. Thank you to the staff of the Department of City Planning for their work in preparation for today and certainly for Wednesday. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you all.